Sometimes when you haven't got a machine shop, you've got to improvise. Well, I was in my previous video. I'm cutting these little spacers out of steel for the magnets. If you watch the previous video, now that one's actually two widths of two of these. It's actually two of these magnets width. That piece of steel. It was a test piece I did. Well, ideally, I need these little spacers to be actually 3mm wide, and it's not easy to get the precision to get them exactly right, because you know when you're making something very small, you can't hold it very well in your fingers. And it's very difficult to clamp it in the vise, and even if you do get it clamped in the vise, there's a chance that it won't be dead straight, and then there's the possibility that you're going to come out with a wedge-shaped piece of iron. How do I solve that without a machine shop? Okay, if I had a grinder, flatbed scanner, a flatbed sander, you know, well, the answer's quite simple. Super glue. File them down, get them as close as possible, then super glue them to a hard drive platter, right? Which is what I've done here. These two are just super glued on. Oh yeah, don't worry, this is nothing specific. It's just simply a means of holding them in so they don't move around. Now, once I get all my 24 spacers, because I'm going to be having to make 24 of these. And I've actually put my flat bar in, sandwiched two layers together, so when I cut one, I'm basically cutting two. But the trouble is that creates a little bit of an error, so when I actually cut them, I end up with a little bit of a step, if you know what I mean. So anyway, I file these down a little bit in my vise, just to get the main error off. And I'm going to continue to cut more, and I'll super glue them onto this disc. And when I've got 24 around the disc, then I'll be putting my a large sheet of emery paper on my table. This is just a small piece actually, so it's not really suitable for this. But then I will be taking my disc with all my little spacers, and I will face them down on the sandpaper. And then I will be basically sanding them all together, and I'll get them all the same thickness, because as I go around I can put more pressure on half of the disc than the other half and rotate like, you know, as you go along. Just keep rotating the disc and basically sanding on the emery paper, and then I will have perfectly flat surfaces on all my, obviously that when I glue them I pick the flattest possible surface I could find to super glue onto the disc. So the flatter side's already on the disc, but this side's were a little bit wonky. So anyway, you get the idea, and that's basically how we improvise when we don't have a machine shop. Anyway, I just thought I'd make that little video just in case there's some of you out there also need to get some kind of precision work, and you need a way of doing it, and that's one way. Obviously, if this disc was attachable to my to a rotary sander, even it would be possibly even easy to have the whole thing spinning around. Well, to be honest, I do have an what do you call it, angle grinder. But I doubt if that hole would fit on it. In any case, I'm not really that. I really don't need to have high speed, because you see the problem is it's super glue, right? And as soon as super glue gets hot, as soon as it gets to about, I think it's 100 degrees C or something, it melts, and then the bond would break, and then the super glue would disengage from the metal. And then I'd have lots of shrapnel flying off the disc. So that's the reason why I don't recommend using power tools for this particular type of thing, because heat will break the bond of super glue. Anyway, so I'm going to be doing it manually, wet and dry, you know. Okay, thanks for watching.